So another disappointing performance by Newcastle at Craven Cottage in the Premier League, but this time the disappointing performance was also matched by a disappointing result. 3-1 we lost to Fulham. Let's get into it. Okay, so this was another performance where we didn't cover ourselves in glory. It's been the story of the season, except before today we were somehow unbeaten this season, and performances had kind of been okay in some games, but really overall the trend of the season is that we haven't been playing too well. We looked like we could get a chance to get back into the game when Harvey Barnes pulled one back straight after half-time. We were 2-0 down in the first half, quite early in the first half actually, but then Harvey Barnes made it 2-1 straight after half-time. He is looking like a very bright spot in this season already. If we can keep him fit, he's definitely going to keep scoring lots of goals, which is an absolute positive. And we just need to make sure that he's getting plenty of game time because he's proving that he is a dangerous player, especially cutting inside and shooting across the goal. It seems to be his trademark, his speciality. But the main issues remain. These are the main issues. I've been saying it for all of this season and some of last season as well. The midfield is not functioning properly. That is the problem we've got. We've got good players in that midfield area, but if Howe doesn't get a grip of this situation with the midfield soon, this could spiral. That's what I think could happen. That's what I'm afraid will happen, and it could happen quite quickly, and we really, really don't want that to happen. So the likes of Bruno, Joe Linton, Anthony Gordon, they're not getting the performances that we expect from them every single week at the moment, and why is that? What is going on that those guys who are very talented are not playing to the level that we know they can? And that is a bit of a concern, really. I just worry that it's an issue with the balance rather than the personnel, if that makes sense. It's not a talent problem we've got. It's the way that talent is being deployed that is the problem. Ever since we had to kind of stop doing the intense mega pressing game that Howe had us playing when he first came to the club, which got us, into the Champions League and saved us from relegation. The fact of the matter is that was unsustainable, and Howe has tried to adapt to a different style, but we're not playing that mega press anymore. So instead, we're kind of doing. We don't really have a brilliant identity, and it stems from the midfield. I've been saying this for ages because what is happening is the midfield is just. In defence, when we're in defence, the midfield is far too exposed. Wingers from other teams are getting so much joy down our wings, particularly against our left-hand side. So they're just targeting that. And, criticism was rightly thrown towards Dan Burn when he was playing left-back sort of last season. And he was, the teams were targeting him. But, again, another theme from this season, we've got an issue with left back. I don't think that position is sorted for us. And it's not always Hall's fault. It's not always Lloyd Kelly's fault. They are being exposed badly. And the reason for that is because of this midfield. And I think what the problem is we need to switch to a play with a defensive midfielder. That's what we have to do. We're not doing that. Willock played today. Instead of Longstaff, he started. That's a positive. But Willock's very attacking, so that's not solving that issue where we need to be more solid in a defensive formation. When we're going forward, we still look quite dangerous. We're still going to score lots of goals this season. But if we can't keep our defence, give our defence a break, it's going to cost us, and it's going to cost us all season. So, this result today is not the end of the world. It's just, it was always going to happen. We were always going to get a game where we lost, and we're just thankful that we've got the points we have already on the board because our performances so far overall haven't really warranted the amount of points we've got. The other problem I think we've got is, well, first of all, the issue with the strikers is massive. Not having Wilson fit is a massive problem. I don't care what anyone says. We've gone into the season too light. Yes, we bought a striker, but Howe clearly doesn't want to play him. Isak came back today, probably wasn't fully fit to be fair, but I don't even blame Isak for this. What I think is happening here is whenever Isak plays, we do not play to his strengths. So if he's our lone striker, we're not playing to his strengths. We insist on going down the wings, getting crosses in. That's not what Isak thrives off. And it's disappointing. It's frustrating for him. But also we've got a potentially world-class player there that we're not fitting into the team in a good enough way, in my opinion. I think we're doing him a disservice by the way we're playing, and it's a bit of a problem. He is quality. He will score goals because he is quality, but he should be scoring a lot more goals, because we should be feeding him chance after chance after chance, because if you give him chances, he's going to score goals. So I just don't understand why we're not playing that way, where we're focusing the ball to him more often. Anyway, that's another issue I think we've got. So we've got issues defensively, we've got issues in attack. The fixtures that are coming up are going to be fairly tricky, because we've got the Carabao Cup tie against Wimbledon. That's a massive game. Hope we find a way of winning that away from home. You fancy that we can go there and get the result that we need. Fingers crossed. But then we've got Man City at home after that. So now I'm not writing us off against Man City. We've given them a good game lots and lots of times. We might, when we play the better teams who play in a different way, sometimes we actually do all right, especially at home. So I'm not saying that we're going to lose to Man City. But it's also not much of a stretch to think we could be sat with 2 defeats in a row in the Premier League by the time next Sunday comes round. Once we've played Man City at home. After the international break, the fixtures come thick and fast, and they're not easy. Right, so obviously we play Man City before the international break. After that, we've got Everton away, then Brighton at home, then Chelsea away, then Arsenal at home. That's a pretty tough run of fixtures by anyone's standards. Brighton are playing pretty well this season as well. So Chelsea are not going to be easy. We don't have a good record at Stamford Bridge. That's going to be a really tough game. Arsenal at home is always fiery. Again, I wouldn't discount the fact we could get a result against Arsenal. I believe we can. I believe we can get a result against anyone on any day if we play well. But it's not going to be easy. I don't want to be sat on the 2nd of November after playing Arsenal where we're still on, say, 10 or 13 points. We're going to have to find a way of winning some of these games. It's not panic stations yet. I just want to make that absolutely clear. I'm not panicking at all. But there is fundamental issues in that team that have to be dealt with. Like, they have to just be sorted, because we cannot keep playing like this all season. Now, we have some bright spots on the horizon. Like I said, Willock's back in the team. He gives us... I just think he's fantastic. I think we've missed him more than we realise. I think Tonali could be an absolutely key player, especially when we're talking about that more defensive mind of having a defensive player in that role. Now, I'm not saying he's a full defensive midfielder, but I think Tonali would more naturally provide us with that if we need it. I think Tonali's exciting because he's obviously amazing going forward as well, so his passing ability and all that kind of stuff is insane. That's exciting. We need to get him in the team. We've got a £50 million midfielder there that we need to get playing, and seeing if that has an impact on performances, because it's coming down to the midfield is the problem. Howe has to find a way to get this midfield functioning to the point where the midfield is able to dominate games against most Premier League clubs. That's what we have to aim to do. And if we can get that right, if we can be defensively more solid, we're going to have a much more successful season. We knew this was coming. It's not a worry yet. We can still solve this, but it does have to be dealt with. We do have to find a way, because teams have found us out, and we have to adapt and change. That's kind of where we're at. I'd love to know what you think. Let me know in the comments below. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? And please go and check out my weekly Substack newsletter about Newcastle United. It's called View from the Gallowgate, and it's all about Newcastle United, and it's completely free, and it lands straight in your email once a week. That about wraps up this video. Thank you very much for watching, and I will be back really soon with another video.